Good afternoon, everybody. I'm not too sure. This is the second session after the lunch. So we're good. I hope you guys are also good. Mhm. No, I'm just asking. Hope you guys are good. Not too sleepy? Oh, yeah. I could see only 15 hands up in the air. Come on, guys. All right. So, I think let's do a quick introduction of what we do, and I think they'll be able to understand it better, of what we do. So we can start.
Hi, good afternoon. So, first of all, thanking all of you to be, inviting me for over here. Myself is Animesh. I head the operations for Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. We are the world largest hotel franchisor, and we have a hotel in 95 plus countries with a 9,200 hotel globally. And we from here in India, we take care of 5 countries, which is India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and the Maldives. So here I am. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Felipe Martins. I'm from Brazil. I'm co-founder and CEO of Mr. Wiz. Is a English proficiency class for young kids starting from 7 years old to adults. And now we're expanding to India. We are in Paraguay as well, Colombia, in South America major. And in Brazil, we have more than 150 units. It's a brand new company. We've been in the market for almost 2 years. So yeah, we're growing pretty fast.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ilana Ramov. I work for Best Shape, which is the largest chain of weight loss and aesthetic clinics in Brazil. We have around 400 units in Brazil, and we also have units in the US, Paraguay, Spain, and now we are starting to do business here in India.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rahul Batra, and I'm the CEO of El Decor Kitchens and Wardrobes. I hope everyone is filled up with enough coffee this day to survive another panel discussion here. So I think we'll keep it interesting, of course. Thank you so much.
So, just to understand here that, we understand all of you are, have a massive strength, in terms of number of franchisees in your format, particularly, you work with all the partners world over. So, what is that key thing that you understand from them that has taken you to different countries? It's difficult. I mean, India, I can understand being an Indian, there are different countries pretty much in one country, right from the community, culture, food, the way we interact with each other. How do you manage those, considering that your franchise is on a long-term basis? It's not that somebody would open up a hotel and, we'll just let it go. So what is that thing that you've learned over a period of time which lets you have those relationships with your partners for a longer period of time?
See, first of all, when you are in a hotel industry, rightly you said, is not a short-term partnership, is a long-term partnership. So basically, what you offer them according to their requirement, that's the key thing. In India, as I'll tell you, as I told you, that we have a 25 plus hotel brand under our portfolio, and we are in 95 plus country. We are the world largest franchisor with a 9,200 hotel globally, plus 9,200 plus, which I say that, especially in this part of the world. In India, I have a 60 plus hotel, and 40 in a pipeline. So 100 hotel we already we are talking about. Looking at the Indian perspective or the globally, you have to be offering something which is gonna fit in the market. So when I told we have a 25 brand which is starting from economy to mid-scale to upscale and to all inclusive. So you have to offer them something which is gonna be fit in as per their requirement and as per the market which they are located or they want to prefer to open the hotel. Secondly, how you make a partner with them it's supposed to be all inclusive. How you going to do that on a day-to-day basis, because you are in the franchise, and a hotel is not a small investment, is very big investment which they are doing it. So you have to, we say that we are a largest franchise, but I say that we are the franchise, because we manage handhold the ownership or the investor, and same time we are the franchise which they have to run their own businesses. So you have to provide the thing where they're gonna trust on you, where they're gonna feel that okay, fine, they will get a return on what the investment they're doing it. It's supposed to be all inclusive. In that way, we offer our franchise to all our ownership.
What's more important, maths or chemistry?
Both,
Yeah.
both is equal, both. Of course, if someone is investing, they want the revenue has to be, is there, and they should get a return. But same time, chemistry is also required, where, in hotel industry is something the relation really works. So you have to work on that chemistry. Thank you.
So, what, according to your perspective, how does it really work? We understand that you have quite a number of units, within Brazil. So, is there anything that tells us that okay, this is one thing which is important, having a relationship? Because see, relationship goes on a long-term basis, right? It goes up and down, and everybody has issues, but you need to resolve them. So, what is that? A couple of things that you would want to hint on in order to do that.
That's a really good question. I think that the relationship that we have between franchisee and franchiser is it's built on trust. The first time that they contact, they want to buy your franchise apart. They want to be a franchisee. They already trust in you. And one thing that we do, two things that we do with our franchisee is that on our trainings, we have a new franchisee training specifically for those that just bought it and for them to get to know about a little bit more about what they bought. We put a list of expectations. So I think that this is one easy way to start that open relationship that we call, right? They will say their expectations towards us as a franchisor, and we will say our expectations towards them as a franchisee. And this is how we start our relationship. And the next thing that we do is weekly we have trainings where we announce something new, or we announce about a material, or we just get together via Zoom, Google Meet, just to be around them and close to them so that they can feel that we're there for them, and we also feel that they are here for us and they can count on us. So I think that this open relationship, this two-way conversation is really important for the business to grow the way it needs to be to grow.
Sorry, how do you maintain relationships within your franchise network? And what's more important with them, the numbers in terms of mathematics or the chemistry, as to how do you deal with them in terms of, so you're more compassionate towards your franchisees, or you're more concerned on how profitable your company is and their businesses on an independent basis?
We always try to help our franchisees the best way we can so they can achieve good results with the business, because that's the aim, right? Nobody goes into business not to be profitable. So, of course, we take in consideration what they're going through in their respective areas, and we are always trying to keep an open line of communication with our franchisees to know their needs, to know if they need help, so we can give them guidance, training, everything they need to succeed.
It's okay.
So, what does it really? Because see, India is a different environment altogether, right? And if you have a franchise network in even in 2 states. It differs. So what are those key things that lets you manage those relationships, and what are the key things which are important? Because there's certain things which are non-negotiable. There's certain things wherein you don't mind being flexible. So what are those things, if you could elaborate on that?
Uh, okay, so first of all, I really have to add one point here. It's been 25 years of my experience in my particular field for which I am a CEO right now. I've been a franchisee for at least 8 years for different companies. Okay, so I completely understand the pain areas. The major thing between maths and chemistry is the pain area we have to take care of. So in our industry, it is really one of the fastest growing industry, and modular kitchens and wardrobes, especially they are like it's like a art. We cannot call it a blockbuster Bollywood movie, but Italian art film. It is sleek, stylish, and at the same time, it is very it is filled with a lot of details. So our franchisee, first of all, has to be completely taught about the areas where he has to be sure that how to deal with the customer, understanding the brand reputation as well at the same time. Secondly, it's a good profit, earning business, which I'm doing right now. So mass would not be a problem for a franchisee. And especially when you talk about pain areas in our industry is more about designing the whole thing and installation of the whole thing. So when you sell a kitchen, it's basically, it's like selling a jewel. But when you get a franchisee, it becomes a necklace. So that's a major difference. Out of all the areas in India, there are different communities. Ultimately, it's a diverse country. So what we have decided is to go with local partners who understands their community in a better way, and also they can help us understanding that space, and we can work together, collaborate in a collaborative manner with them. On each and every inquiry, we give them support of design, we give them support of installations, so that they just have to think about selling and creating the relationship with the customers in a much better way. That is what we are doing right now.
Sure. Thanks. So we have Shivali with us, who's the Vice President, Franchise and Commercial Business for the Lemon Tree. So, what we're trying to ask is that, like he also just answered that, the relationships that you get into are very different and on a long-term basis. So how is it that you look forward to maintain those relationships with them? And typical thing is, whether the numbers are important or being compassionate. So what are your thoughts on that?
That's a wonderful question. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Shivali, representing the Lemon Tree Hotels. So I've been in the franchise business in hospitality for almost 20 years now, 2 decades. Earlier working for an international franchisor, and now working for a domestic company with pan-India presence, with 106 hotels, which are operational right now, and another 60 in the pipeline. So Ashita has asked a very interesting question, that what is it that we look for in a franchisee? How do we set his expectation correct? And how do we ensure our relationship goes on very smooth? So typically when you enter into the business of franchising, you are looking at a long-term relationship. This could be a tenure of 20 years or upwards. So we have to establish, right from the first conversation, the first communication, mutual trust. We have to ensure that we need to understand their specific needs and marry it with our specific wants and needs. For us, the essential thing is that the brand standards should be met. The product and the service at that particular location, at that particular hotel should be designed and operated in a manner that the customer feels the same experience that he would feel, whether it's an owned hotel or a managed hotel. So just to give you a little brief, we as a company with Lemon Tree Hotels own hotels, manage hotels, as well as franchise hotels. So 50% of our portfolio is owned hotels. So for us, our stakes are very high. We have to ensure that the right expertise need to be granted to the franchisee who comes and becomes a part of our umbrella, right from the technical support and design to various tools which help him distribute. And all along, we have to communicate. So that's one thing I feel that more often than not, franchising companies lose out. Either they don't use technology to their advantage, or they lack something called compassion and communication. So we have to be compassionate as a company and yet be very professional about it. Communication has to be mapped like clockwork. You have to do your weekly communication, you have to do your monthly communication, and communication, very importantly, cannot be one way. It has to be two way. So you have to engage in the dialogue with the franchisee because he may be in a different duration of his life cycle. While you may have dealt with another 50, 100 hotel partners, but this particular one is unique and has to be treated uniquely, differently. His micro market, macro market, his own personality needs to be chalked out for us to tailor make and customize a solution for him. So that's something that I would like to add in terms of compassion and communication.
Yeah.
Extremely key elements in franchising.
Yeah, but one thing I would like to understand is that when a franchisee comes on board, he has different expectations, and when he's in a relationship with you, the expectations change over a period of time, and it can go in any direction. The world is changing, industry is changing, competition is changing. What is that thing that lets you work with him on a long-term basis? Because even in a hotel, it's not difficult to not renew the contract or not get into the terms on which we signed on. So if I have a better deal, does that only number that would, make sure that I not stay with you or go anywhere else? Or is it the more compassion that would let me stick to a brand or a company? So I would just like to share an example here that, I'm very fond of personally a company called as Tata, and they have this brand called as Tanishq, which is a jewelry brand. And so I was talking to them one day and they said that, during COVID, we thought that we should be compassionate towards our franchisees. And I said, okay, but what does compassion turn down to? He told me in a very one-liner that the chemistry got into max. And I let go of any kind of a fee or a less margin to them during that period. And I didn't ask for any kind of a profit sharing, wherein I knew that they were making profits. So are we talking about that extreme compassion towards your partners? Or are we just talking about upgradation and research and development in our own fields to be competitive?
So
any of you can answer, actually. That's a...
So compassion is a very fine line. Compassion means understanding the needs, but it doesn't mean that we don't stick to the contract. The contract is well communicated. We believe that we'd like to stick to it, whether it's the commercial terms, the fee, the structuring, the deliverables, and so forth. Yes, it's an ever-changing industry, ever-changing environment that we all operate in. So one needs to be compassionate to understand their specific, unique needs. But it cannot be above the agreement, is how I would like to operate and is how we've believed in operating. So there have been cases when COVID had struck. That was, very unprecedented times. So at that point of time, we did give waivers because they were needed. The hotel operations had shut down. But again, like you rightly said, there is a very fine line between a compassion and being taken for granted. We are all dealing with business people here. They are here associated with us as a franchise company, or they join the franchise system because they have belief in the brand. We join with them because it is a commercial transaction and we believe we keep it like that.
So I add to Shivali's point. Is a very thin line that goes for the compassionate. We also did during the COVID time. Everyone knows that the hotel is shut down. They're not doing the business and all. But it's all depend upon then how this contract is there. But yes, we have did a complete waiver during those period. And forget the COVID time. Recently also, a certain location, there is a natural calamities happen in the northeast and the northern side and all. At that time also, we have our relation is with the the franchisee, or the ownership is something like that. If they are in trouble, we are there to help them all the way, whatever they need it. And we considered it something, okay, fine, the hotel is not doing something great business, or because of the calamities and all those things. So that, yes, we have taken those consideration and we have waived off all those things. So because it's not just a 5-year or 10-year relation, is a longer relation. And when you get married, you have to feel both the heat, both the sides. So that's I say is a marriage between two organization. Other thing which you added, yeah, is definitely when you're a longer relationship, until unless you are not growing yourself in terms of technology and everything, you will not survive in the market, because the competition is such a high that they will come to you. Okay, fine, someone is offering me something this, and they have this. So you have to keep on growing. So for just to let you know, past 5 years we have almost invested somewhere around $275 million on a technology and the growth wise, where we have developed some brand, we have developed some technology to give hands-on to all the franchisees. So that's the way they're going to stick with you, and then the relationship continues for a longer duration.
I would just like to add that it's also important to try to differentiate people who are actually needing our compassion and are actually needing special attention from others that are just making excuses for poor performance. So, for instance, in Brazil, we had a flood in the past few days. We have some cities that are underwater for days. And we have franchisees in the cities that lost everything. So the franchisor is donating all the aesthetic equipment that our franchisees need to go back to operate once the water level goes down. But there are other units that are just making excuses for poor performance, and they are not trying to do anything to change the scenario. So we also need to be aware of this kind of situation so we can address it the right way.
I just want to add a very simple line here. So it's like it's not a marriage, but it's a live-in. So when you have somebody who is sharing your values, who has invested in your vision, okay, he has understood. He thought that okay, whatever we are saying, whatever we are telling him, we are showing him maths. We are showing him because for our brand we are very emotional. Everybody is emotional, compassionate. We are, passing the same kind of emotions to someone who is sitting somewhere else in some other city. He is investing in our vision. So for each and every problem, not only COVID or not whatever she's saying, of course, all those issues, whatever he is facing, is our responsibility, and we have to really, really take it like that. There are problems. Maths and investments. Profits comes completely. It's like it's too. Profit is not why you're making it, someone as a franchisee. It's basically he's sitting there showing your brand to the people and saying hi for yourself. So all the problems which he faces is our problems. That is what I feel.
No, rightfully said. I think, yeah, that's there. And I think your point is also very valid that we need to be very sure whether it's really happening or he's making it up. That's also very important. So now, when you get into a relationship, do you really select a franchise? I mean, in both of your cases, how would you do that? So I have three perspectives or three situations that, somebody who's already running a hotel of a different brand, would you prefer him? Or would you prefer a person who can, like in India, there are many properties which are available on bid. You can just pick them up. Somebody who's not doing well and, a distress sale to be precise. Or somebody who's not from hospitality background and is now looking forward to get into it. I understand there's a huge amount of money would be involved in terms of investments, but what is it that you prefer and why? And is that a criteria for you to select a franchise, or you would select anybody whosoever is coming with you from a certain criteria?
So selecting, the what you have told it, I'll explain it to you. Post COVID, that whole dynamics has been changed now, and especially for the hotel industry. We are seeing the growth in tier 3 and tier 4 cities more. And tier 3 and tier 4 cities, when someone approach, us for franchising a hotel, or, they're building a hotel, mostly they are the first time hotelier. Mostly they are the first time hotelier because, post COVID, there is a change in, domestic tourism is in high demand. So a lot of people travel, and, and that's the reason. It is kind of something, which the people wants to spend. The spending power has been increased, so they want to spend. So that's the reason the hotel is getting built up in tier 3 and tier 4 cities. So criteria, which you told, yes, when someone is there, they have a couple of hotels already running. That's fit for us. When the first time hotelier, yes, we do check due diligence for them, and especially for them, we have to be sure that he has a bandwidth to spend something like that, or at least a hotel gonna open. And definitely the hotel is not from next day onwards you're gonna generate the GOP. It takes some time, so he has some appetite to take that as well. That's the one thing. Yes, as I told you, a lot of time the hotel, the investor comes, they want to open the hotel, the first time hotelier. So we provide them, as I told you, we are the, our 100%, almost 100% portfolio is franchise. We don't manage any hotel, especially in this part of the world. We have some agreement with the professional in the industry where they have a third party. They are the, the hotel operators. We introduce to them, and then it will be a something, they take our name and then they're operated by someone else. So we work on that model as well, especially in this part of the world. But yes, it's not like that. If someone is building something and we can open the hotel, no, complete feasibility. We do that. Okay, fine. What gonna be the return he will expect? Because at the end of the day, number matters a lot for everyone, and who is investing it. So we do the complete feasibility and to check that, okay, fine, so, this hotel is feasible to open it over here. But again, which kind of market is that, and what sort of the brand gonna fit in that? For that reason, as I mentioned, that we have from value to economy to mid-scale, and the luxury brand. So if suppose someone is opening a hotel in Bareilly, I have opened a hotel in Bareilly, and surprisingly, the hotel is doing fantastically good. Bareilly is, no one can expect that the hotel gonna be open in Bareilly. We are working in city like Muradabad to open a hotel. That's an international brand hotel. So people wants to use it, but yes, we do the feasibility to check how the market gonna be, a response about that hotel, and then we gonna do that. We did that.
So for me, when you plan a property, when you plan a hotel for any business head, the most important thing is the destination, and further the location in that destination, because only those hotels sell which are in a good destination and well located, or they have the power to create a destination. That's the latter. Talking about understanding the owner profile. So I personally have always believed that one needs to spend fair amount of time in understanding the profile of a franchisee partner. I would rather bet more on the person and what his ethos and values are. So when I do business development for my company, I would like to really understand who the person is, where he's coming from, what is the area of interest. So one is people have money when they want to do hotels because they all see something called return on ego, ROE. I want to understand and ascertain, does he look at an ROI, which is a return on investment? Does he have the aptitude and the intention to spend that money? Very important. And does he respect the brand? So if he comes to me or if we reach out to them, irrespective, for me, a very critical and important, pertinent point of selection, whether he's in tier 3, tier 4 market, in Timbuktu or in Nepal, the important thing is, does he respect the brand? Does he hold the values of the brand that he's looking at? And does he have the intention to hold it throughout the agreement? So I prefer spending as much time on the site and as much on the maps and the layouts and going through the technical expertise. I prefer spending time with the individual and the business.
I think as well that one of the things that when we're selecting, when we're looking to investors, franchisees, new franchisees, something that we look and we like to take our time is their background. Why do they want to join us? Why do they want to be our partners? They already had, for example, we are in English school. Oh, they had a different brand and now they want to change flags and they want to be with us. Why? Were they not doing right in the last one and now they want just to change? Or what motivated them to go to our franchise? Another thing is how much money, as it was said, they're willing to invest. If they don't have the minimum amount, there's no possible way that they can be investor because don't want them to break as well. We don't want them to starve. We don't want them to lose everything because our company. We want them to succeed. So that's another thing that we look into prior to accepting them to the franchise is if they have the minimum and they want to go further as well. So I think and their commitment towards the brand is really important as well. Will they participate in all the trainings? Do they have time? Will they invest their time in us? Because it's a process that they need to go through, and if they are willing to go through that process as well.
As she rightly said, I'm completely, agree to that particular point that it's not about money. It's basically if he shares our values, if he has a vision to understand what we are into, and that's the most important thing. I have an example in Lucknow. There's a person whom I really I recognized him 3-4 years back, and he was a great designer. He understood the Indian design very well, and he was a great executioner. So, but he didn't have money. He wanted to open a showroom with us. He didn't have that much money, and we invested more than 50% with him, just because we wanted him to be on the job. Because it is really, really important whom you trust. Trust is and faith is the most important, key in between this. So, of course, to add to her point, I 100% agree to you.
So now we understand how do you really kind of profile a person whom you want, to take on board. I'm sure you would have done that in past as well. Does that really reflect onto a relationship? Because I was talking to somebody in the morning today, and they said that they do profiling, before finalizing a franchisee or getting them on board, and they use a software for it. It's called as Oracle, kind of a psychometric testing. Does that really help in maintaining relationship? Because ultimately what we are talking about is having a long-term relationship on the investment so that both of us, it's a beautiful thing, right? Getting into franchising, but it's only is beautiful if both of us are making profits and both of us are happy doing what we are doing. Does it reflect on it? Or it doesn't really matter? The relationship on a ongoing basis makes him probably one of the good franchisees or bad franchisees.
It's actually a combination of both. Yeah, so people do change. People do change, their expectations change. The people around them, what they suggest and what they recommend, and what they understand how the business should be, changes. So while when you sign on the dotted line, you agree on certain expectations and you set them very clear because you want a happy relationship. You want to ensure that it's a road to success for the franchisee who's buying into the brand. But as they go along, there is a likelihood that there could be a mismatch of expectations. also who at the other end is meeting, as long as they know that there is sincere effort, both by the company, the brand, and the people who are associated with the brand, I think they let pass. They also let pass, even if their businesses are not as profitable, because there is a very clear-cut demarcation between owning a business and franchising. When you are franchising, the franchisee is free to operate the business the way he wishes to, maintaining our brand standards, maintaining our training, our quality. So that freedom sometimes cannot be as profitable to the business. And that is somewhere we have to educate him and be in a constant dialogue. He may want to build a Taj Mahal. He may want to go over the top. And we see that very often, especially in India, in tier 3, tier 4 markets. Like he was also mentioning, we see them going really over the top. So you have to tell them that this would not get you the returns that you're looking at. You want to go and invest outrightly in a product that is not what the brand stands for, not required. Don't overinvest, don't underinvest. So yes, a bad franchisee, there could be a change. So while you do the owner profile, the whole idea is that you form a relationship. They should believe in you. They should trust you. They should believe in your brand and the organization, because people do move. People do move.
So as a brand, I mean, if you could choose, whether you would want to comment on it on a India subcontinent basis or world over, that what would be the percentage of franchisees that you would end up retaining, after a contractual period of time, or how many of them that you would terminate the contract on certain rules that he
So-
didn't defy to?
So this is something called churn in our industry. So we do have a small percentage of churn that happens, and essentially churn for at least the industry that I have been associated with has happened only on 2 accounts. One is on quality, them not meeting our quality standards repeatedly over a period of time. You've done the opportunity to cure, you've told them, you've recommended, you've carried out the right training. And the second reason could be non-payment of fees. So these are primarily 2 reasons why a franchise agreement may come to an end and there may be a churn. Your question was that how often do we have a renewal of the agreement? I would say 95%,
Would that
and the
be-
5% which doesn't renew could be somebody who wants to pursue a goal of starting his own brand, going independent.
Even in,
So,
in a
in
5-star or a
hospitality,
4-star
yes,
hotel?
because in the 20 years of term, he probably has multiple hotels that he's built, and he thinks that he'd like to do a brand like, a domestic brand, give it a name. He believes that he's created the power of brand.
Okay.
I will add it over here.
I would like to tweak it for you.
Okay.
Because you've got multiple brands and they work across different categories. So it's like both ways, right? So how do you manage that? I'm sure the churn so-called would be higher in your case.
No.
No?
Is other way around. We have almost 98% retention. Yeah, really. And it's definitely, so I'll give you the example. The hotel I have in Mumbai, they are with us from past 37 years. I have a hotel in, Colombo, which I manage it there from us with from past 22 years. So likewise, we have a hotel, and the retention is very, lower. Especially in India market, we work on mid segment and all. So mid segment always the retention is very low. Retention. Over there the the churn out happen when she has rightly mentioned when the contract period is gets over, and then they want to explore it because they have seen enough hotel industry from past 20 to 25 years. So they think that okay, fine, they want to explore it, but you have something to offer. I have some, I have a 25 brand which I can offer them. If they want, okay, fine, they want to upgrade themselves, from one A brand to B brand. Take this brand.
So does that churn ratio differs from India versus any other country?
Yes. It is,
What would that be if you could?
is marginally difference. Is marginal difference. Hardly there will be difference of between 5%, 2 to 5%, but
Let me add another perspective to this discussion. So when you have international markets, especially markets of United States, US, these are very matured markets in the business of franchising. So their churn ratios are much higher across all brands, hospitality brands I can talk of, because they are open to conversion. They understand that they've built a property, they have the software, and for either better expectations or better commercial terms or their changed belief in the brand, they shift. So I've noticed, and this is an industry-wide trend, they've also been in the market for very long, matured market, they shift. So there is a churn percentage which is higher internationally than in India, I would think.
You know,
Yeah.
my next question was that. Actually, I was getting there on conversion franchising because that's the second part of franchise relations. So you said it. So yeah, my next question is also answered. You want to add up?
Uh, I'll add to that. As I told you, we are the global brand and we have highest retention. We have a largest number of hotel in US. Almost 4,500 hotel we have. And the good part, those 4,500 hotels, 60% owned by Indians, and they all are from Gujarat. And they are all the Patels.
They're all the Patels of the world.
They're all
yeah?
the Patels of the world. They're there, and 60% of our US hotel owned by Indians.
And just adding to that, I think that yes, the expectations might change throughout the journey. Personalities might change throughout the journey, because we know that is in this relationships kind of marriage. When you're dating, everything is beautiful. You have butterflies on your stomach. You're getting to know your partner. It's kisses here, hugs. Everything is beautiful. Once you sign the contract, it's like a curtain falls, and you really see the true person. Is basically all the problems starts come in, and he yells at you all the time. So owning a franchise, being a franchisee, a franchiser is like that. When we're meeting, when we're dating, everything is beautiful. The purpose and return of investment, everything is beautiful. But after we sign the contract, I don't know how to do the marketing. I don't know how to do this. So it will change some things, the expectations, and even the personality. But as long as we, at the beginning, we said we have that relationship, and we talk, and we get together, we have our expectations set, it's harder for them to get out of the franchise and go somewhere else. And it's just building that relationship. It might change, but it's a work that goes both ways.
So in our franchise chain, our retention rates are also high. So usually when people open their units, when it comes to the end of the term of the agreement, they want to renew. However, there are cases where people think they don't need us anymore. They can, do things independently, or they want to change to another brand. In these cases, we try to protect our business, enforcing the non-compete covenant, which are included in our franchise agreements. Five years, the unit franchise agreement, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. That was a good insight on how do we really manage the relationship. So one fine line, because two of you amongst us has the longest relationship. Having said that, they've got massive investments done, but it's the mindset that people get into. And I've seen people opening up hotel franchisees, and they get into business of franchising of hotels rather than anything else. So they become franchisees of a couple of brands or a couple of more properties, and it starts giving them a lot of kicks. So I think you guys have beautifully managed the relationship over a period of time, and being able to live up to the expectations of those franchisees over a period of time. As you rightly said, they keep changing, and I think that's amazing. And I think for both of you as well, and for you, I think it's been a interesting journey. So we look forward to getting into a good relationship with our franchisees, and you're making a good testimony. So anybody who wants to take up the last words on this?
So basically, what I think that it's about national marketing campaign. We have to have a very strong marketing campaign to solve the issues. For example, a local competitions, or otherwise, a person who is our franchisee, he has to have a lot of push through marketing, so that whenever he goes to a customer already knows him as a brand. So this is one thing, and of course, a strategic training is very, very important. What we are doing is we are calling each and every person's sales team over here for 10 days and involving him in the client dealings in a flagship store in Delhi, so that they can actually have a complete know-how how we are doing it, so that they cannot go wrong over there. And then we are also doing every fortnightly, we are doing calls with them on Zoom or TeamViewer to discuss problems which they're facing right now. So by doing all these efforts, I think we take care of their problems at least for 70 to 90%, and that makes them our franchisee for a longer run.
Thank you so much. That was really enriching, and thank you for sharing your, country learning per se and industry learning with us. And thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
राइट कैन यू प्लीज टेक द क्वेश्चन ऑफलाइन सर? आप जो भी हमारे पैनलिस्ट हैं जिनसे सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं आप ऑफलाइन ले सकते हैं. We'll take one question. Can you please quickly pass the mic? I'll request you to please keep it short since we are running a lot late. Thank you.
My question is, franchisees, suppose it is a big hotel, you have so many, the departments and so many things. Like you have a restaurant, you have rooms, you have housekeeping, you have marketing. Can we franchise in different departments for individual agencies, or you franchise only as a hotel?
So it can't be individual department-wise franchisee. It's a hotel.
For example, suppose Toyota comes here, Maruti Suzuki comes. Their whole franchisees, their different parts to maintain the quality standards of different parts of the car. And the whole franchisees of parent company, they come here, set up, and then they develop the local franchisees and train them to bring them up to that particular standard. If you don't do that, then the quality suffers.
So generally in the hotel industry, it never happens. The hotel, the brand, they want their brand standard and the compliance and the conditions.
How the individual who is as a franchisee, how he will bring up the entire quality standards of everything.
ऐसा होता है जब when we franchise, we give SOPs. And SOPs, rightly you said, is across all departments. So front office SOPs are there. There are SOPs on restaurants, on F&B, on banquets, SOPs of both soft skills, standard operating processes, and area statements. So that takes care of department-wise department. But we don't further franchise various outlets. We don't, because we have brands of each outlet.
For example, in hotel industry, I've seen that in marketing, there are agencies who are outsiders who market for you.
Yes, so there are certain merits that we have in-house, and there are certain activities that we have to outsource. Every company needs to outsource. It could be specific to a certain section of marketing, for example. It could be gardening, it could be horticulture, where we may not have the expertise. So we may have to outsource, and we do that.
Yeah, what happened in the hotel industry generally is a human touch is very important. And the service is very important. So that's the reason the franchisor always wants that everything goes as per the standard.
Today you have been talking throughout the session, marriage. Today marriage is a very challenging word.
Sir, I think it's a long discussion. We can certainly take it offline.
Long term is gone. Days of long term is gone. Today is, you have to manage day by day, month by month, week by week.
We do that's the reason
Marriage is so challenging these days.
Of course, yes, you're right.